convention where I make cakes, for some reason they like to ask me questions about the cake before I cut it. I don't care if you have no questions. If you have questions, I'll be happy to answer them first. Do you have any questions? Gentleman in the back.
Is the cake alive?
Yes! Oh my God. You caught me! It is a lie! This really isn't cake at all. It's just a box I found on the side of the road on my way here. The cake is not a lie.
You said alive.
Oh, alive?
Alive. The heart of the cake is still beating.
Well, to see if the cake is alive, you have to wait a few minutes. Yes, ma'am.
Was it based on Telltale Heart from Edgar Allan Poe?
You can tell me after I cut it. Actually, there are several inspirations for the cake. As you can see, there's a little bit of a steampunk theme going on, and there's a little bit of a Kevin J. Anderson theme going on, and yes, maybe there is a third theme. Yes.
Is it a bomb and will it explode?
I do like to make things explode. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, what will it do? In your mouth. It will explode in your mouth.
It will be very yummy. Maybe.
What will it do then?
My question is, when do we get to eat it?
What is the book made of?
The book is made of cake and fondant, and the cover of the book is an edible image that I resized and printed out and then put over the fondant that I covered the book with. I did tell Kevin that he could have the whole book. So, no one wants to know how much cake there is here?
Yes.
I baked 370 servings. You have about 340 servings left because I did have to carve out part of the cake.
What does it weigh?
About 80 pounds. There's about 10.5 pounds of ganache alone in the cake. The flavors are very vanilla, light chocolate, chocolate chip ganache, vanilla buttercream, and then there's something all over the outer edge underneath of the fondant and modeling chocolate covering, which is called cake spackle, which is cake crumbs mixed with icing and ganache to make kind of a spackle to give me a smoother surface to apply the final covering to. This final covering is 50% fondant and 50% something called modeling chocolate that I make myself. All of these accessories and details are made out of the modeling chocolate, and all of the trim is straight modeling chocolate. I call it grown-up Tootsie Rolls. But it's made, I make it with Belgian chocolate and corn syrup. And it's very pliable, and it holds shape very well.
And the cover sheet of the book?
Pardon? The cover sheet of the book is an edible image that I actually just took his book cover from Google Images. I resized it to fit what I needed. I printed it out on an edible image and trimmed it. And then, okay, secret. I made the cake for the book a little bit larger than the image. So I had to fix that with another strip of edible paper that I painted red. Because I would rather do that than take away some of the cake.
Whoops, we thank you.
Any other questions?
How many cakes have you done like this?
Like this? Well, this is the
cake, you know.
Custom cake.
Custom cakes, hundreds, but cakes for conventions, I've probably done about a dozen now. I've done a talking light-up Dalek that was 2 feet 2 inches tall. I started out with just a 2-foot-long Battlestar Galactica that I really wish people wouldn't look at anymore. I've done a captain's chair from Star Trek with multiplying buttercream tribbles. It started out with 3 tribbles, and at the end it had about 38 sitting on the chair. That was fun sneaking in there to put those on. It also had a motion sensor in the chair so that when you walked up to it and got too close, the red alert sound went off. And the lights lit up on the console. I did a dragon that was 4 feet long with edible flapping wings that roared on a motion sensor, had light up glowing eyes, and was actually rigged to breathe fire, but then I remembered the convention crowd and that was a bad idea, so we didn't actually do that. I did a Ring World cake for Larry Niven one time, which was quite entertaining because I was supposed to be in there when he saw it, and I got in a few minutes after he was in there, and he was on the phone with his wife in California saying, okay, there's this cake and it's Ringworld, and I had been clever and put these special do not touch signs around the cake, and he says, and it says, and the whole con suite got silent because they were so afraid he was going to be offended. Do not touch the Ringworld cake. It is unstable. So everyone held their breath until he laughed. And then someone goes, she made the cake. And he goes, oh, tell my wife about it. It's a cake. But it had the center, I had cast a special sun in the center. And my husband's my engineer. I tell him the effects I want, and he makes it happen. And he has this cool little programmable thingy. I don't even know what it is. But it's capable of 256 colors, and he complains because I only ever want one, and it's usually white. Sorry. And just back in February, I made a 2-foot 4-inch tall TARDIS with a flashing light on top that some of you may have seen.
I'm sure it disappeared in a hurry, right?
It did.
No, because there was more cake on the inside than.
And it was one of the highlights, along with Kevin coming in and pretending to sign my book cake. The TARDIS cake was hugged by Peter Davison, the Fifth Doctor. Yes, ma'am.
How long does it usually take you to make your
Oh my God. Okay, sometimes there are cakes that I am convinced is going to take me 12 hours, and I'm done in 4, and I'm going, wow. And there are some cakes that you think it's going to take 2 hours, and then 3 days later you're like, what the heck? This cake from start to finish is probably about 19 hours, and that counts the baking time. But it's a multi-level process. Don't ever think you're going to get a cake like this that was baked that morning. First of all, that's just crazy. Second of all, your cake, actually, if you have a good recipe, it's going to taste better as it ages. But second of all, it's actually more stable. Fresh cake is too soft to work with. You can't do it. There's a sound? I don't hear anything. Are you feeling guilty about something?
Highly volatile.
So I started on this cake Tuesday evening, and I finished this cake Thursday at 5 o'clock. The bulk of the work was done on Thursday, and I worked for about 9 hours total on Thursday on the cake. The other times. Now, I have learned over the years that I do a lot of prep before I even bake. I make my modeling chocolate, I get my fondant ready, I make my ganache, I make my buttercream. Then I bake. I have everything I need, and I'm pretty good at estimating how much I need and making a little bit more. I used every bit of the 10.5 pounds of ganache I made. I used every bit of the 8 pounds of buttercream I made on this cake. So I don't have any left over for the cake next week that I have to make. It's very sad. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think the most important question here is, when do we get to eat the sucker?
Okay, are we ready to cut the cake?
Is there somewhere that people
wait,
can
there's
see
another.
pictures of your cakes?
No.
In other words?
Yes, ma'am.
Purple? Yes, you have a
Yes.
question?
No, I was supporting the eating of the cake.
Okay, now I'm going to explain something to you as I'm going to remove the lid of the cake. There is something inside the cake. And that something ended up being a little bit too tall. So I had to come up with something at the last minute when I didn't have time. I'm sorry, I should remove the lock if I'm going to take the lid. If I was going to be able to make the something fit inside, I had to come up with a way to make it taller. So I didn't have the time nor the inclination to bake another 50 servings of cake. So I have a ring of Rice Krispie treats. Do you want to see what's inside?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, good job. Good job, Poe.
I'll hold it up.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Can I do it.
Edible.
Okay, so there's a third cake flavor. The heart.
Brian could make the heart pulsate.
We talked about it.
Why don't you stab it and then you can pick it up?
The heart
I don't want standing up. I want it.
is made, oh no, of red velvet cake.
Oh, I want the heart. I want the hearts. Baby heart at me. Yummy, delicious.
I hope you're getting her bloody fingers in the shot.
Some barbaric ritual here. We rip the beating heart out of the cake.
I feel like I should just grab it and take a huge bite out of it.
I like that so badly.
My hands were stained red for 2 days, by the way, so here we go again. And being a stickler for detail, after I placed the heart, I made fabric to line the chest with, and after I placed the heart, I took one of my paintbrushes that I use only for food and made my blood spatters all around, because we obviously can't place the heart cleanly.
No.
All right, well,
Yay. We need a wet paper towel.
no, not yet.
Stat.
There's no point yet. Okay, are you ready to?
Do you have plates?
We will start. We have napkins, by the way, not plates. So have fun. Good luck.
Right behind you.
Plates are overrated.
No, there is a stash there.
They told me to use the napkins. Oh, right there.